podcast. We're in season 3, episode number 37. How are you doing, Andy?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. It's August 5th, 2022. This is the songs edition, meaning songs only. We're going to be talking about some music, concerts, tours, and all things music on today's episode. No sports. It's all music. I've got an album review. Do you have any trivia or anything fun to kick off the episode?
Yeah, just one thing I'm going to mention here. The band we're covering today is Stryper. And first of all, this is not going to be a send your money to the church type episode because we're talking about Stryper, okay? So just relax right there. You're going to be surprised. You're going to have a newfound respect for the band, I think, after this when you hear what we got to say. If you didn't have it already, if you always kind of poo-pooed them because you thought, oh, they're that Christian band. Give us 20 minutes of your time. Yep, Dan was one of them. Give us 20 minutes of your time, and we'll, right, like Dr. Johnny Fever used to say, open your ears real wide.
Yeah, this will be good. This will be some good stuff. So what we have tonight for the album of the week is Stryper, but it's a whole album of cover songs. The band album is called The Covering. And I'm going to show you this here. Show this live. Swing it up there so we can see.
There we go.
Stryper's album covers. So
it kind of looks like a wrestler you'd make on a video game, doesn't it? Or your fighter on a fighting game, you know?
It was so The Covering is the 13th release and 8th studio album by American Christian heavy metal band Stryper. Released on February 15th, 2011. The album is a collection of 12 cover songs from bands that inspired Stryper and helped to shape the band's sound and musical identity. Final song, God, is a new original recording. So this is interesting stuff here. So what I'll do first, for those folks not familiar with Stryper, here's the personnel. Michael Sweet, lead vocals. Robert Sweet on drums, Tim Gaines on bass, and Oz Fox on guitars. So here is the lineup. It's all cover songs. Once again, whether you like Stryper or not, whether you've got anything against them or you like them or a big fan or not, you got to push this on your record player on the LP and stick the needle down and play it beginning till end. First song is "Set Me Free." That's a 1974 cover song by Sweet.
No relation.
74 by Sweet, not Michael and Robert. No. Song 2 is "Blackout." The favorite by the Scorpions, 1982. They do a pretty good song on that, covering "Blackout," the old Schenker song. Then "Heaven and Hell" by Black Sabbath. They cover the 1980 version of "Heaven and Hell." Very good.
Yep.
And this is the Ronnie James Dio version.
Yeah.
And then check this out, another Schenker song, "Lights Out," UFO. Now, is this Michael Schenker?
I think so. That was the only song, that one. That was one song that I was really I hadn't heard before. So
one of the Schenker brothers, but this is a song, UFO's song from 1977 called "Lights Out." I just listened to that yesterday, running some errands, and they do a good job on the UFO song. Song 5 is "Carry On, Wayward Sun," of course, Deep Purple, 1972. Yep. Then, of course, song 7, "Shout It Out Loud," the Kiss 1976 version of that song.
You missed song 6.
Oh.
Highway Star.
Yes, I did. Song 6, "Highway Star." Oh, no. "Carry On, Wayward Sun" is Kansas, 1976. Yep. Song... and then we get "Highway Star" is Deep Purple, 1972. Yep. "Shout It Out Loud" by Kiss is song 7. Song 8, one of my favorites, "Over the Mountain," the Ozzy Osbourne song they covered, "Over the Mountain," 1981.
Then these next couple are kind of surprising.
Very surprising. Song 9, "The Trooper," an Iron Maiden cover song from 83.
Yeah.
The Trooper. Song 10, "Breaking the Law," Judas Priest.
Rob Halford, yep.
And Rob Halford, 1980. Song 11, Van Halen's song "On Fire," That's a 1978 old throwback from Van
Mm-hmm.
Halen. They do a good job on that as well.
Yep.
Now, my personal favorite, song 12, is the Immigrant Song, a Led Zeppelin 1970 cover song from Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, Immigrant Song. So those are the first 12 songs, all cover songs, all hard rock, heavy metal. About as good as it gets, a great mixture of songs from the 70s and 80s. Final song 13, original, Stryper, 2011, Michael Sweet song, God, original new release. So this album is 53 minutes, 21 seconds long. It's considered Christian metal, heavy metal, hard rock, and even glam metal.
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't know. The reason I throw him in as glam is kind of like with Warrant and with Poison. For the time, they saw that's what people wanted, so that's what they did to get their name and face out there.
Yeah. The album was originally scheduled to be released on October 13th, 2010, but then on October 22nd, it was announced the band's on the official site that the feeling of the business and the label, they needed a little more setup time to allow for a stronger release. The two singles, Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath, was released September 14th, 2010. Carry On, Wayward Sun, December 14th, 3 months later, also 2010. And then the album itself was released February of 2010, February 2011.
Yep.
So once again, it's tough to do a Stryper album. There's not a lot of gray zone. People like them, people hate them. It's a tough thing, but a good way to introduce them on a show like this is to do a cover album first.
Right.
It's a talented group.
I got some notes and tidbits on members of Stryper here that might even hang us. The first one, they started as a band called Rock's Regime. Second definition for the regime in Webster's Dictionary. Dictionary is a book we used to have back in the day, kids, that had words and definitions in it before Google.
Yes.
Okay. Regime, a system or planned way of doing things, especially to impress from above. So kind of a religious take. That was the name Stryper for Stryper. Like I said, Tim Gaines was on this album. They've also had some other bass players. Perry Richardson's in the band right now. Perry Richardson, you probably remember him. He used to be the bass player in Firehouse.
Okay, Firehouse, really?
Yep, so the bass player for Firehouse, he came to Stryper. He's also done work on country music artists. He's also listed as a country music artist. In between Firehouse and Stryper, he worked with Craig Morgan and Trace Adkins. So he's done a little stuff. Perry Richardson, stereotypical thing. Why'd you go from Firehouse to Stryper? Well, because he was in Firehouse and drugs and alcohol were ruining him. He changed his life and went to Stryper. So that's how he fell into those guys.
Interesting.
Oz Fox, as you mentioned, is a guitarist on there. And a lot of people, if you follow our Facebook page, I put a lot of stuff about Oz Fox up on there. August 12th, 2018. Oz Fox suffered a seizure while performing the side project. CT and MRI showed two masses, one by his ear, one by the back of his head. So he's had treatment on that. He's doing well. He's still kind of putzing here and there with the stuff, but there's a little scare for Oz there for a while. Oz Fox, great guitarist. The brothers. And I'm not talking Eddie and Alex Van Halen here. The brothers, Michael Sweet. There was a thing, if you look at Stryper right after this, they were kind of on a break for a few years. Here's what Michael Sweet did, and when you hear this cover song where it came from, he filled in for a while and did lead singing on a group called Boston. He filled in for them for a few years. Then he did some work with George Lynch. They did 2 albums, Sweet and Lynch. So he's got 2 albums with George Lynch from Dokken. That George Lynch. And then he also did collaboration, a band called Sunbomb, him and Tracy Guns from LA Guns.
Okay.
So here's some more to add to our things to listen to list. And now Michael Sweet's at a band called Iconic. In this band, it's got Joel Hoska, who's currently guitarist in Whitesnake.
Okay.
Mark Mendoza, who's the bass player for Twisted Sister.
Okay.
Tommy Aldridge, whose drums for Whitesnake. He's done work with Ozzy also. And the lead singer is a guy named Nathan James. I hadn't heard a lot of Nathan James stuff before, but with Iconic, they kind of switch off in a song. Nathan sings a little, Michael sings a little. But I've heard that Iconic songs. I've put their video on our Facebook. Excellent stuff. Excellent guitar work there. Robert Sweet, the drummer, he's started up a new band or a side project called Clean Break. Him and Perry Richardson, guitarist there from Stryper. And in it, they have a guitarist from Quiet Riot, Mike Flaint, who's the guitarist now for them, and also the lead singer from Quiet Riot and American Idol finalist in 2011, the 10th season, James Dermott. So those of you who know American Idol would know him. So Quiet Riot and Stryper combining for a group called Clean Break.
Okay.
So again, just good rock and roll is all it is. Just good rock and roll.
In my queue for albums of the week, Iconic is coming up in the next couple of weeks. Iconic. That was the connection. I did not know that.
Yep. So when you hear that voice, you go, I've heard this recently on this Coverings album I heard. And yeah, that's Michael Sweet. And Stryper has put a new album coming up. I don't know if it's out yet. They got a new one coming out. But coming up in a month, September 18th, they will be at the Caboose here in Minneapolis.
Really?
So,
okay.
I don't know how much stuff they'll play from each other's bands. If they'll do any Iconic stuff, if they'll let them do any stuff from Clean Break with their other side projects.
What's the spelling for Iconic?
Just like you think, I-C-O, Iconic.
Okay, I thought it was maybe a K. No, I got the...
No, your stereotypical Iconic, yes.
The cover up there, the illustration was done by Chris Parks. Cover illustration, very good, very good.
Yeah, Iconic, I-C-O-N-I-C, yeah. Yeah, like I said, that was like a very good album cover. And when I first saw the album, I thought, okay, let's see. I went into it a little tentative.
Okay.
Got to those first couple songs, I thought, man, they're nailing it. Now, Michael Sweet has a very high voice. I'll give you that. So he picked the songs that his voice fit. He didn't try to do songs that weren't going to match his vocal range, So I give him credit for that. He did the early Kiss stuff.
Yeah, if you
stuff.
That Immigrant Song, Led Zeppelin, he gets up there.
Yep.
And some of the interesting artists they cover too. Stryper, you think Christian rock, you think kind of clean cut, and they pick Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin, Ozzy, Black Sabbath. A lot of these
Kiss,
heavier stuff that interesting.
Oz spots for him. He kind of Eddie Van Halen was a hero of his. They've all done other side work and work with other people like that. So they're just regular rock and roll guys. It's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's just rock and roll.
Now, how about the original release, God, the final song on the track? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a good song. Don't get me wrong. It's a good song. Kind of every group that does a best of album or greatest hits album throws a new song in there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I took this one with it. I'm glad when they do that, they don't ever release that song. Here's our greatest hits with a new song on it. Don't release the new song. It's.
Yeah, and sometimes it's I wouldn't say a throwaway, but it's an extra one that's been collecting dust maybe, and they wanted to get it out there and didn't have an appropriate album to drop it on, so they released it by itself.
And again, it's that whole kind of coming in the back door if they want to get their religious message out to people. Here, let's just sneak this song at the end.
Let's see.
Subliminal messaging on a Christian album doesn't sound right, but it's a subliminal messaging, if you will.
This album was recorded at Sound House Music in Northampton, Massachusetts. Good stuff. We got the request from a listener to do this, and I'm glad we did it. It was pretty good. I like the stuff. Anything more on Stryper, Andy?
Just like I said, just listen to their other stuff. I push them a lot on our social media. I'm kind of a big fan of theirs. Like I said, Michael Sweet, and you can look their stuff up on Spotify yourself. Look it up on Google. He did some stuff with Boston for a while. He's with Iconic. Sweet and Lynch, they did 2 albums. Then Sunbomb was one album he did with Tracy Guns. Spotify the stuff, listen to it. And then the new one, Clean Break, with the guys from Quiet Riot, filling with the guys from Stryper. Just again, just good rock and roll to have playing in the background as you're outside doing what you do. I don't hear, like I said, like even when it's Stryper stuff, I hear it, but I don't focus on the message they're trying to get across because it is just good music. It's not your stereotypical, getting out of rip. It's not your stereotypical KTIS Christian music, okay, or what you hear of when you think Christian music.
Yeah.
It's not, whatever it's not old school Amy Grant. It's not stuff like that. It's rock and roll. And these guys toured. If you look at who Stryper toured with back in the day, it wasn't other Christian albums. It was hair bands they were out touring with. So, and they did well. They made some friendships, as you can tell from their collaborations they've done afterwards.
Sure.
So they're respected in the rock industry too. You talk to any of the rockers out there, they ain't gonna go, oh, those Stryper guys. No, they all got respect for them too. And I think that's why I've kind of liked them after a while too. Is okay, I kind of like this album. How do the rest feel about it? No, a lot of rock guys respect them. They're good musicians, and I guess that's the other part I like about it too.
Yeah, and Michael Sweet produced this album as well. So
Yep, and he's done some solo stuff too. So
good stuff. All right, well, guys, have a listen. Leave your comments below if you like it or not. And also, we're still looking for requests to come in for future, but look for Iconic in the next couple of weeks for an album.
All right.
All right, everyone, have a good week.
All right, see you later.
All right, see you.